The streets lit up instantly after rumors started circulating online claiming 50 Cent had accused Lil Meech of robbing BMF of $10 million, with whispers suggesting Rick Ross was somehow connected to the situation. Whether from commentary channels, fan speculation, or unverified claims floating through social media, the story exploded into a full-blown scandal overnight. The alleged numbers, the names involved, the legacy at the center of it, everything combined into one of the most talked about narratives in hip-hop culture. What made it even more volatile wasn't evidence because none had been confirmed. It was the emotional weight behind the rumor. Anytime the BMF legacy gets invoked, the public reacts with intensity. Add 50 Cent, who built the entire BMF series and has been vocal about protecting the integrity of the story, and the rumor instantly gains momentum no matter how thin the source may be. The allegation suggested that 50 believed Lil Meech had taken money meant for honoring, promoting, or expanding the BMF brand, supposedly around $10 million, and that these funds either disappeared or ended up mismanaged.
I'm going to address this because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family.
The story became even wilder when whispers claimed Rick Ross may have been involved, adding a long-running rivalry into the mix. Fans dissected it instantly because 50 and Ross have been enemies for years, and any rumor tying Ross to BMF automatically becomes explosive. People dug up old interviews, past tension, music references, and business deals, trying to connect dots the internet thrives on. Every little detail suddenly looked suspicious, even though it was all based on speculation. The rumor painted a picture of financial missteps going down behind closed doors, of powerful players moving money and clashing over control, ownership, and legacy. And because the BMF story carries real street history, fans treated the allegation as if it were a sacred violation. BMF isn't entertainment to many people. It's a movement built on loyalty, discipline, and respect. So the idea of someone connected to the lineage being accused of mismanaging millions made the situation feel heavier than a typical celebrity rumor. People weren't just debating finances, they were debating honor. Social media amplified everything instantly. Different platforms built their own interpretations, some claiming Lil Meech was being unfairly targeted, others suggesting 50 Cent was simply too protective of the BMF brand and reacting based on emotion rather than fact. And then there were those who insisted Rick Ross's name being attached was no coincidence, that it fit into a long pattern of tension and rivalry. Even though no official statements confirmed anything, the allegation evolved into a cultural debate. This wasn't just about $10 million. It was about whether legacy is being honored or exploited. It was about power, narratives, and reputations in a world where perception often counts more than proof. And that's why the story spiraled so quickly, turning into one of the most dramatic, unverified scandals of the year. Once the rumors started to circulate, creators and commentators began framing the situation as a deeper conflict involving control over the BMF story.
Is there anything about Ross and his career that you have any respect for?
No, there's nothing there. I never wanted to work with him.
50 Cent has positioned himself for years as the one responsible for translating the BMF legacy into mainstream entertainment through television, documentaries, and storytelling platforms. He constantly emphasizes accuracy, respect, and truthfulness in how the narrative is portrayed. So when rumors suggested he believed Lil Meech mishandled funds, it created a symbolic clash between the legacy's past and its future. Lil Meech, according to online speculation, was accused of treating BMF as branding rather than cultural responsibility. The rumor implied that money meant for honoring the organization's legacy allegedly got diverted, mismanaged, or allocated incorrectly. Again, no verifiable documents, just chatter. But the internet treated it like a morality tale. The heir mishandling the empire, the guardian calling out betrayal. Fans turned it into a cinematic storyline. What made the rumor feel even bigger was the alleged involvement of Rick Ross. For years, Ross has referenced BMF, Big Meech, and Detroit street culture in his music. Some fans see it as homage, others see it as excessive. So the idea that Ross might have been connected to the alleged financial controversy made the narrative even hotter. People speculated that 50 believed Ross was helping orchestrate deals or influencing financial decisions surrounding the BMF brand. Whether true or not, the rumor fit perfectly into their rivalry. Commentators online started linking past disputes to this new allegation. Old tracks were analyzed, interviews rewatched, subliminal lines decoded, and business moves scrutinized. The internet treated the rumor like a forensic case, trying to determine who was loyal and who was exploiting the legend for personal gain. It didn't matter that most of the evidence was circumstantial or speculative. Once fans feel emotionally connected to an idea, it becomes its own truth. This scandal also revived conversations about the commercialization of real street histories. As hip-hop becomes increasingly intertwined with entertainment corporations, the line between honoring legacies and monetizing them gets blurry. Many fans argued that the BMF legacy should be guarded closely, handled by people deeply connected to the real story. Others said legacies evolve and can involve new players as long as the storytelling stays respectful, but the alleged accusation turned that debate into fireworks. As usual, 50's reputation influenced the entire narrative. People see him as someone who exposes contradictions, calls out inconsistencies, and speaks on what others avoid. So even without a direct statement verifying the rumor, his name being attached made the story believable to some audiences. The allegation created an illusion of authenticity, as if something real must be happening behind the scenes if 50's name appeared in the same sentence as accusations of financial mismanagement. And once the rumor took hold, the internet wouldn't let it die. It snowballed into one of those stories that becomes bigger than the facts behind it.
I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big, I can feel it. I'm just talking.
As the scandal continued to unfold across content platforms, many commentators explained the situation like a cautionary tale about the fragile relationship between legacy and public perception. The BMF name carries weight far beyond music or entertainment. It represents an era, a mindset, and cultural influence that shaped entire cities. When the public sees a name of that magnitude tied to accusations of internal conflict or money disputes, even unverified rumors gain traction instantly. People care about BMF not because of celebrity drama, but because the organization remains one of the most storied realities in urban culture. The rumor placed Lil Meech in a difficult position. As the most publicly recognized figure attached to the BMF lineage today, he carries expectations the average entertainer never has to face. People expect him to embody the strength, discipline, and loyalty that defined the original movement. So when online speculation suggested he mishandled $10 million or participated in questionable business moves, it created a narrative that struck at the core of how fans view him. The allegation transformed from a financial rumor into a symbolic accusation, the idea that the legacy was being disrespected from the inside. Rick Ross being mentioned added an entirely different layer. Ross's music career has long been intertwined with themes of power, wealth, and street connections. His references to BMF have always generated mixed reactions. Some believe he celebrates the history respectfully, while others argue he profits from imagery he wasn't directly part of. So when fans saw Ross's name tied to the alleged scandal, they immediately interpreted it through the lens of authenticity. Many believed it fed into the idea that some artists use real street stories as branding tools without holding the necessary ties or responsibilities. Whether valid or not, this perception amplified the controversy. And in the middle of all this was 50 Cent, whose presence alone intensifies any narrative. Over the years, his connection to BMF through television adaptations has positioned him as someone deeply invested in the integrity of the story. Fans see him as a cultural gatekeeper. So when rumors claimed he accused Lil Meech of mishandling money or involving Ross in questionable deals, the internet interpreted it as a defensive move, an attempt to protect the legacy from distortion or exploitation. Even without direct confirmation, fans assumed 50's alleged frustration must have roots in something real. What made the rumor even more compelling was how it illustrated a familiar pattern in hip-hop: the clash between real-life legacies and commercial narratives. Street stories inspire music, but they also get reshaped once corporate interests get involved. Sometimes those shifts lead to misunderstandings. Sometimes they lead to allegations. And sometimes, even if no wrongdoing occurred, the public perception becomes powerful enough to shape careers. This scandal was one of those moments where perception became the entire story. As debates raged on, the scandal evolved into critiques of business, loyalty, and positioning within the entertainment world. Fans started asking deeper questions about who truly has the authority to speak on the BMF legacy and how much responsibility comes with that authority. Lil Meech represents family, bloodline, and authenticity. 50 Cent represents storytelling, structure, and mainstream influence. Ross represents artistic tribute, branding, and entrepreneurial power. The rumor placed all three at the center of a conflict none publicly confirmed, but all became symbolically responsible for resolving. Commentary channels examined the alleged claim like a chessboard. If 50 truly believed $10 million had been mishandled, what did it mean for his business ventures tied to the BMF brand? If Lil Meech was truly involved, how would it affect his reputation as the heir to a movement rooted in loyalty? And if Ross was part of the allegations, how would it impact the narrative surrounding his long-standing persona as a boss? These questions fueled speculation regardless of whether they reflected reality. The idea of the BMF brand being robbed, even metaphorically, became the emotional centerpiece of the rumor. Fans argued that a legacy built on sacrifice should never be surrounded by internal financial accusations. Others argued that modern entertainment always brings complications, contracts, and financial confusion. That conflict is inevitable when real history enters Hollywood and corporate structures. This created a divide between viewers who interpret BMF as a sacred cultural legacy and those who see it as evolving entertainment property. Then came the claims about Ross. Some online voices alleged he acted as a mediator. Others claimed he was a collaborator. Others believed he was being dragged into the rumor because of his rivalry with 50. The absence of clarity made everything more dramatic. Opposing communities used the rumor to reinforce pre-existing loyalties. Those who preferred 50's brand of authenticity framed the rumor as proof of Ross's opportunism. Those who admired Ross's business success argued that 50 was overreacting or using his platform unfairly. Again, all speculation, no verified evidence. With so many layers of interpretation, the scandal took on a life of its own. It stopped being about whether $10 million existed or not. It became about what people wanted the story to represent. Loyalty versus betrayal, authenticity versus branding, history versus entertainment. And that is why the rumor stayed alive longer than expected. It offered different communities within hip-hop a reflective mirror. Whether justified or exaggerated, the cultural implications kept the scandal circulating. By the time the rumor began losing momentum, it had already reshaped public perception in significant ways. Even without certainty, the idea of 50 Cent accusing Lil Meech of mishandling $10 million, with Rick Ross allegedly intertwined in the narrative, created lasting images fans won't forget quickly. That's the power of speculation in entertainment culture. Once a narrative feels believable, it becomes part of the mythology surrounding the people involved. For Lil Meech, the rumor created a moment of scrutiny he didn't ask for. As the most visible representative of BMF today, any association with financial mishandling becomes symbolic. Fans care less about evidence and more about emotional storytelling. They want the heir to embody stability, discipline, and integrity, and any rumor that appears to threaten that image instantly becomes dramatic. For Rick Ross, the controversy revived ongoing discussions about authenticity. His legacy is built on larger-than-life imagery and association with iconic street stories. Even if baseless, any allegation that ties him to financial disputes around BMF taps into existing skepticism. It doesn't matter whether the claims reflect reality. Public perception often clings to narratives that reinforce existing doubts. And for 50 Cent, the situation ultimately strengthened his position as a cultural guardian of the BMF story. Even if he never confirmed the accusations, the rumor alone placed him at the moral center of the narrative. Fans saw him as protecting the integrity of the movement. Critics saw him as stirring up controversy. But either way, his influence grew. This scandal proves one powerful truth: In hip-hop, no legacy is just history. Legacies live, breathe, and move through the people connected to them. And when those people clash, even through rumors, the culture reacts. The public treats these stories not as gossip, but as chapters in an ongoing mythos shaped by loyalty, power, and authenticity. And whether the alleged $10 million existed or not doesn't change the fact that this rumor sparked one of the year's most intense debates, forcing fans to reconsider how they view the BMF brand, how they interpret loyalty within the entertainment world, and how easily narratives can shift when social media adds gasoline to the fire. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more breakdowns that pull back the curtain on the story shaping the culture, make sure to like this video and subscribe so you never miss a new upload.